Right, guys. Today we're just going to have a quick look at how we can go and model the controlled blood glucose by the body using a nice big model that you can use with class. We're going to have a look at a couple of different ways of doing this. As always, when using the model, some key things to consider before you start. Make sure that you've got everything prepped and prepared before you go and make a start, right? Because it will take a little while to get ready. Other things to consider before you actually carry it out with the class, just have it clear in your own minds what you actually want to go and get your students to get out of it, and what sort of questions and such stuff you can ask them as you go along. Okay, right, here are the two different ways of teaching controlled blood glucose at GCSE level using two big models.
In the same way as other things are controlled by negative feedback, blood glucose is controlled by negative feedback. The big things that control blood glucose are the liver and the pancreas. So if blood glucose is too high, that is detected by insulin secreting cells in the pancreas. So therefore insulin is secreted, and insulin stimulates the uptake of glucose from the blood to be stored by the liver. Therefore the level of blood glucose decreases. If the level of blood glucose decreases too much, that's also detected by the pancreas. So glucagon secreting cells in the pancreas are stimulated, glucagon secreted, and glucagon stimulates the liver to release that stored glucose. So if we go and think about how this relates to our negative feedback diagram. So if the level of glucose rises, that's detected by our pancreas, which stimulates the production of insulin, so that's the response. So therefore glucose is uptaken from the blood, stored by the liver, so therefore it goes back down to its normal level. If, however, the level falls, that is detected by glucagon secreting cells in the pancreas. So therefore glucagon is produced, which is the response, which raises the level by causing the glucagon to turn, well, it causes the liver to release the glucose back into the blood, so it returns back to that ideal level. So that is a very, very brief overview of how negative feedback is related directly to controlling blood sugar levels. So when starting to use a model to go and describe how the pancreas works and to control blood glucose by insulin and glucagon, always start by just reminding students where the glucose is coming from, so from the small intestines. Then you can talk about it diffusion into the bloodstream, and you can talk about it moving all the way around until it gets to the pancreas. Once it's out of the pancreas, you can talk about the release of insulin, that moving around the body until it gets to your liver. That you can then talk about uptaking the glucose and storing it as glucagon. That then will result in the decrease of blood glucose. Right, in the same way, when talking about when the body's using glucose, so using it for respiration, you talk about the glucose going out into the body cells, so therefore blood glucose will decrease. You go back to the liver, talk about it releasing glycogen, which goes and moves all the way back round to the liver, where the glucagon will be converted back into glucose, which will raise blood glucose levels.
One, two, three, 1, 2, 3. Okay, hopefully now you've had a look at those two different ways of using different models, you will feel more confident at giving it a go. Just some key things, as always, just consider. Make sure that when you are carrying this out, gather all the students in close to you so you can ask lots of questions, and the more Q&A you can get in, the better. After you have finished this, what I like doing is that you can get students to work in small groups to produce their own short presentations on what you've been through, or you can give them some sort of literacy activity or something else that leads on from the modelling activity after. Right, if you've got any questions or comments, drop them down below and I will attempt to get back to you. Right, thanks.